Hello and welcome to the shed. In today's video I want to show you how you can cut a board to length where you want to get multiple pieces out of the one length and get a clean edge every time. Hope you enjoy. For doing this, what you want to do is make sure your board is slightly oversized, because you're obviously going to lose material when you cut it to length, and you want to be able to get enough out of the length of the piece that you're working with. Now what I want to do is show you how we use, just using our knife and our square, how we can get that nice and clean. And it will still require using the shooting board to clean it up afterwards, but you're going to have less waste and have fairly clean edges after you've sawn. So let me bring it in here and we'll get started. So first of all, you want to come in and take your measurement. In this case, 557 mil. So I'll put a little knife mark there and just going to put a little pencil mark on it so I can find it afterwards. So bring your square up, make that first line. Now you can wrap this all the way around, which I recommend you actually do. But before we do that, what I want to do is I want to scoot this across maybe another 2 or 3 mil, and we're going to put a second line here. Remember to take these off your reference edges, and what you can see here, I hope you can see here, I'm just going to pencil them in for you, is we end up with 2 parallel knife lines right here. And the idea is you're going to saw in between those 2 knife lines, and these knife lines are going to stop it from chipping the timber out, and it's going to keep it just nice and neat for you. So we've just got these lines all the way around now, which is exactly what we want. So because of the way we've scribed those lines, we're going to get a neat cut as long as we stay between them. You can go ahead and use a rip saw if you want for this. I'm going to use a tenon saw just because, you know, you're going to stay much straighter, and the kerf line or the gap between them that I've left, I'm going to be able to get this tenon saw, but I wouldn't be able to get one of my panel saws because my set's a little bit larger on those. So you can use, this one is around a 15 teeth per inch rip. You could use a cross cut if you really want to, but you can get away with these fine tooth rip saws for doing these cross cutting techniques, so you can get away with using one saw to do both tenon work and also cross cutting work if that's what you want to do. You can add a little bit of fleam to the tooth to improve it in that measure if you really want to, which is the angle to the tooth, so you're adding a slight slicing action to it. That is something you can do as well if you really want to, but I just use it normal, straight across, zero fleam. So let's jump down here and we'll saw it and we'll see the results. So this is actually too long for me to use my bench hook for, so what I'm going to do, and you can do this as well, I've just got this piece of scrap, so I'm going to sit a sacrificial piece of scrap under my board. I'm going to line it up so I can use my dog holes to clamp this down. So now we've got this held down, and in actual fact I need to move that, it's going to be in the way of my saw. I'm going to use the hold fast over here. I'm just going to angle it slightly more. You want it nice and clear away from your saw. So just like when we'd start normally, we're going to start in the middle here, and I'm going to use my finger just as a little guide. So we're going to nibble and make sure we stay between those knife lines. So keep your sight on both sides, and we're going to nibble across the top like this. You can also come down the other end if you really want to. Start one there. So you're just carefully nibbling until we get a saw kerf all the way along between those 2 knife lines. Now it does float around a little bit, so it doesn't really matter how close you are, but I can see here that I've got part of my knife line just here on this side. I'm pretty close to it on this side here, but a little bit further away up here. But as long as you stay inside it, you're fine, and I can actually see where part of my knife line is here. I don't know if you can see that, but I am still in between it. It does float around a little bit, so it can be a little tricky to keep your saw in between them. And then what I want to do on this side up here, now if you had something that overhung, it would make that a little easier. So I'm just bringing that down, angling it a little bit, and then using that and that kerf we've already put on the top. I'm on a slight angle here. Now the idea is, you've already established this kerf here, and by angling that kerf, it should help to keep you aligned parallel or square to it, and then it should just follow this kerf that you put on the top. Now you've obviously got to keep proper sawing technique, and I have shown a video on that, but what you want to do is keep your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and wrist locked with finger like that, all in the same alignment so you can cut straight. It's not as important when using a back saw because that takes some of it out, and because you've already established it, if you do wobble a little bit, the kerf is still going to hold it where you want it, but you want to try and keep as straight an alignment as you can. Now I'm actually sawing on my side here now, angling that down as well, just cutting into my scrap, just so I know I'm getting parallel there, and then the rest of it is just sawing straight down with your saw straight. Now in doing this, I find a little bit of paraffin wax, or you rag in the can oiler, something like that, a bit of candle wax, just helps it glide through this end grain a little bit easier when you're sawing. So now I've sawed that right through. Let's have a look at what we ended up with. Well, on this side of the short piece, we can see that line is just below. The grain is a little dirty there, a little chippy in between it, but it hasn't moved past that knife line we put in. Samely on the back and on the sides, it's all the same. It's stayed nice and clean and hasn't actually torn past that line we put in. We can look on this side here. I did actually ride the saw a little bit too close just here, but it is still just on the line. Try to keep a little bit further away. If you do struggle, maybe just take that little bit of extra gap with the knife lines, just so you don't wander. And we can see that line, or I hope you can see that line. I'm almost right on top of it here. But you can see that you never really saw 100% square, and so you can see the line on this side. And that's just keeping it much cleaner. So we can see that this is going to be a good clean edge. We will put it on the shooting board before you measure another shelf. That's why you want to have that leeway. You're removing material with the curve. But it does mean that you can waste less and you end up with less blemishes right on the edge of your timber, because it doesn't want to tear and pull right through past that, so you actually lose less material. So let's whack these on the shooting board and we'll have a quick look at what they look like after that. And remember, you want to do this on your reference edge, so you want it square to whatever your reference edge is. So now that one is shot, we'll have a look at that in a minute. Into this board. You can see this one here has come up nice and square off the shooting board. For the most part, there's a little bit of crushing of the fibres just here, which indicates that my marking knife needs to be a little bit sharper. It's not quite severed the fibres, so they kind of just crushed a little bit. They're a little bit pushed over. I don't know if you can actually see that there. It's quite difficult to see, but I can see that it's kind of just squished the fibres rather than severed them. And if we look at this side here, we can see that that's come off. You do get a little bit of chipping sometimes on the shooting board, on especially this Tasmanian oak. It's a little bit splintery even though it was severed, but once again my knife might not have 100% severed those fibres, and that might be the problem that I had there. This side, however, is nice and clean, and that happens to be my reference side, so sometimes it happens based on the timber, and you can only do as much as you can do. On this side, you can see that we're now clean down to the line, and that little blemish where it looked like I went over the line, it's actually completely gone now, you can see. So clearly I didn't quite go over the line like I thought. I must have been right on it, and we can see just a little sliver of that line there, which means we've now got these nice and square. So if we put a square to it, we can see that it's pretty square in this direction, and off the other side it's close. Not my reference edge, and so you can see here it's close, but off this side, my reference edge, it's dead square. So there you have it, folks, another quick video here to show you a technique that I think is really important to learn, especially for cutting out multiple pieces out of one long board, which we all do. We never have anything the exact length that we need, and so we all have to cut them to length, and I think that any techniques that improves that, makes it more fun, easier to do, we're more likely to do it and do it more often, and I think that's a good thing. Please sound off in the comments. Let me know something about what you do when you come to cross-cutting, especially multiple pieces out of one long board, to improve your accuracy and, you know, have less waste and all that. That'd be great. And if not, let me know how your day's going, because the comments really do help the algorithm get this video out to more of you, which is just fantastic. And please don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there. Don't forget to hit that sub notification bell and hit all so you don't miss out on any new videos. And if you'd like to see another great video such as this, please check out the video out here where I show you how to build a shooting board like the one I've got, how you actually shoot your boards square, and also correct cutting technique so you can cut nice and square. Bye for now.